Hello, Primes. So you're probably wondering about the future of the MCU. Who isn't? Everything's going to be changing now. We're going to have a whole new cast. If you don't believe me, not too long ago, the list of Phase 4 films was revealed. I'm not sure if these are 100% legit, because after some recent debacles, there might be some changes here. Anyway, let's see how good this records. As you can see, we have Spider-Man Academy. That's the first one we're going to be getting. Now, recently Sony decided to buy back the Spider-Man rights from Marvel and Disney. Probably not a good idea. So, if we're getting a Spider-Man movie, it probably won't be in the MCU. Then we have Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. This one is going to dive into the scarier side of the MCU. What I mean by that is his arch nemesis is going to be called Nightmare. Nightmare! Yeah, with a name like that. That hurts. I sitting like that. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna be having a horror film in the MCU, and it's Doctor Strange. I mean, I'm kind of tossed up about that. Like, I don't like horror movies because they're predictable and stupid, but it's Doctor Strange. He's one of my favorites. Um, then there's something you should know about this second Doctor Strange movie. There's going to be a guest character. Scarlet Witch is actually going to be in it. She's going to be a secondary protagonist, and I've never seen Benedict Cumberbatch and Elizabeth Olsen on screen at once. How this is gonna turn out, I don't know. It's gonna be pretty interesting though. Then we have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. We already knew that was in the works. Like, from the get-go of the second movie, we knew there was gonna be a third one. And from the ending of Endgame, we can only assume that Thor will be in it because, well, I mean, as Guardians of the Galaxy, I mean, I would love to see that. Thor and the Guardians together again. After that, we have a movie called Black Widow Leviathan. Before people start commenting, but Black Widow is, spoilers, dead. She is dead. When Cap went to return the Soul Stone, there aren't really refunds. You can only return the stone. You don't get your sacrifice back. If it was Hawkeye who returned the Soul Stone, maybe she could come back, but sorry guys, she's actually gone. Black Widow Leviathan is actually a prequel. It takes place in 92, and it's going to be Black Widow's origin story, how she went from a bad guy spy to SHIELD spy. I'm gonna be interested in that. The Mighty Thor. Now, I've heard a couple names of this one. It's either The Mighty Thor or Thor Love and Thunder. There's two possible options. The last one sounds a little bit out of place. However, Natalie Portman did say, or was revealed to be returning to the MCU. I don't know if that's legit. As we know, the MCU is not 100% faithful to what they say. And next, this caught everyone off guard. If I can focus it in, Fantastic Four. This is going to be another toss-up. Not for me, but for Marvel fans in general. The previous Fantastic Four movies, not so good. They're joining the MCU, finally. Same with Wolverine. In fact, he's rumored to be played by Keanu Reeves. So, Fantastic Four in the MCU, I don't know. it would be an interesting idea. If it's actually gonna happen, I don't know. Then we also have the Wasp, Escape from the Microverse. It, just so you know, some of these names are not 100%. These are just names for what they're gonna be called. They're just code names, that's it. So, Escape from the Microverse sounds interesting. It's gonna be the Wasp's first solo movie. Kind of interested to see that. Black Panther, Secret Empire. I'm kind of excited for that one. Black Panther is also another favorite of mine. Kind of excited to see that. Spider-Man Dimensions, and it looks to be in horror text. So, if this is going to be another horror movie, I don't know. And if it's going to be tied into the MCU, again, I don't know. If 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 the Spider-Man movies aren't in the MCU anymore, please still have Tom Holland playing him. He's the best Spider-Man we've gotten to date. Next is Nova. For fans of the comics, you may know who Nova is. I I know a bit of him. Like, I've seen a couple, shows on TV where he's teamed up with Spider-Man and all that. And from what I know of, he works with the Nova Corps. I'm not sure how well that's going to pan out. Xandar was destroyed, if y'all are wondering. Captain Marvel and the Valkyries. Whatever that could mean, like Captain Marvel being teamed up with the Valkyries from Asgard, I mean, that'd be interesting. It'd definitely be a good female lead. But the previous Captain Marvel film, people weren't overly impressed with it. Anyway, Ant-Man and the Masters of Evil. This will be Paul Rudd's fifth movie or appearance in the MCU, which means that his contract is coming up. After that, we have another one called Warlock. Not sure what that one is. The Thunderbolts. Now, I just want you to pay attention to something here. It has Deadpool's logo in it. So, if that means that it's part of the MCU, is Deadpool joining the MCU, or is it just another Marvel movie? I mean, hey, I'd love to see Deadpool in the MCU. Just, not rated R. I mean, the previous ones were hilarious as hell, but... And then... Oh boy. We have the X-Avengers, or vice versa. I don't know, with a name like that, I would think that, they're run by Deadpool, or something like that. Now, just remember, take into account, I don't know if these are 100% legit. They might be, they might not be. But, yeah, there you go. I mean, those are the future movies, but that's not all. In terms of character arcs, well, as you saw in Endgame, a lot of character arcs were complete. Iron Man's, Captain America's, Black Widow's, their arcs are complete. Thor isn't. He still needs to find out who he is. He's going a little bit. Black Panther, after the events of Infinity War and Endgame, he's going to be facing a big dilemma. Who was in charge of Wakanda in those 5 years? M'Baku? Maybe. Doctor Strange is still incomplete. Spider-Man, as I said, is probably not going to be part of the MCU anymore, so Spider-Man fans, I'm sorry. He's not in the MCU anymore. That doesn't mean that Tom Holland won't be playing him. In fact, they could still be doing that. But Tom Holland is under contract, technically. I don't know if, he wants to continue playing Spider-Man. He's the best. There's no denying it. Tobey Maguire was probably second best, and Andrew Garfield, he was pretty good, but, not the best. Uh, Captain Marvel. Now, when I said that the first one didn't pan out too well, a lot of people weren't a fan of Brie Larson's acting. I can see how they think that. She is kind of bland. Um, just do a second movie, get it over with, honestly. Ant-Man versus the Masters of Evil. Honestly excited to see that. And here's a quick little funny story. So, I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp, I believe it was, yeah. And later that night, I went to go watch Friends, because it's one of the shows I watch to, watch to sleep. That way, I at least have dreams I have friends. And I saw in the post-credits, or whatever, of Friends, that Paul Rudd is in it. I didn't know that Mike Hannigan was Ant-Man. Yeah, that shocked me. As for the Wasp, she's finally getting her own standalone movie. Kinda excited to see that. The only thing is, we're a little more accustomed to Ant-Man. Now, as I had said before, Kevin Feige, head of Marvel, says that he's a big fan of Keanu Reeves. I mean, who isn't? He's one of the nicest actors on the planet. The only thing is, he also wants to get Keanu into the MCU. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know if it's even gonna happen. I'm personally kind of hoping that it is. If Keanu Reeves is gonna be in the MCU, it's possible that he's gonna be playing Wolverine, which makes sense. I mean, just look at the similarities. And if you really don't believe me, look it up. He really wants to be in the MCU himself. And can you blame him? This one. As for another Avengers movie, it looks to be at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021, roughly. Maybe even 2022. That's an ouch, if I ever saw one. Now, the Avengers, they're done. If you're gonna do another Avengers movie, it's not really the Avengers. Unless it's like a football team where people retire and more people come in and you keep the same team name. That could be what they're doing. I'd be interested to see that. Characters like Hawkeye, who is yet to have his own TV series or movie or anything, he better get a movie, I tell you. I mean, I'm pretty sure Jeremy Renner's contract is almost up. But, I mean, come on. Hawkeye is such an underrated character. We have to see a movie of him. Really, Kat? Anyway, so as for other characters, you might be wondering, what about them? Well, there's an upcoming Disney streaming service thing where it's going to have a bunch of characters from the MCU returning and doing a streaming service of their characters. So Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, they're going to be returning to play their respective characters in a Disney streaming service. In other words, a TV show that's exclusive to Disney. So you have WandaVision, which I'm kind of okay with. Saw this one meme of, Quicksilver. He dies and then his sister goes off to screw a robot. Not watching any more memes for a while, I'll tell you that much. As for, ooh, Falcon and Winter Soldier, that's gonna be an interesting one. I believe that one's gonna take place before Infinity War, just like WandaVision. I don't know. It could take place after Endgame. I mean, why not? It could tell you about how Falcon is struggling with the fact that he's gotta be the next Captain America. It all depends. You also have Loki. My mother is excited for that. My mother is a huge fan of Loki, particularly Tom Hiddleston. If anybody else is playing him, she doesn't know him. But yeah, Tom Hiddleston is returning for a TV series about Loki. In 2012, when the Avengers went back in time in Endgame, Loki stole the Tesseract and he escaped. That's the same Loki that's going to be in this series. So yeah, don't worry, it's the same Loki. Only he hasn't gone through the same character arc as the previous one, so he's still going to be a conniving, sniveling piece of Asgardian mischief. As far as anybody else, oh, I'm wanted. Great. I don't know. I think everybody else is pretty much done. Like everybody in the MCU, they're pretty much done for now. There's no major problems. I haven't seen Far From Home yet. I've been wanting to see it, but I haven't gotten the chance. Which sucks because I really wanted to see it. So, but I already know what happens in it. Thanks, Internet. But yeah, these are just concepts. They're not like 100%. We don't know if they're actually going to happen. So if something seems off, that would be why. Now, if I were wrong one. If I were to do an MCU movie, if I had to take any character from Marvel and make a movie on them, even if there already was one, probably be... I don't know, maybe Doctor Strange? Doctor Strange is my favorite, mostly because, like, he can make everything look really messed up. Like, you don't want to be doing drugs with that guy. Other than that, I don't know. Now, as for Thanos, yeah, it's sad we're not getting any more Thanos memes, ladies and gentlemen. It brings a tear to my eye. But hey, I mean, the guy was badass while he was around. He punched a dimension. Are we all just gonna ignore that? If you don't remember, Doctor Strange sent the mirror dimension into Thanos to send him into the mirror dimension and screw with his mind. Thanos just punched a dimension. We can't ignore that. Who the next big MCU villain is rumored to be Galactus. Now, believe it or not, I'm not a big fan of the Marvel comics. I know I'm waiting for people to get their pitchforks and their torches. I'm not a fan of it. The comics, it's not what I grew up with. I grew up with the movies. So I like the movies a little more. I'm pretty sure people are gonna hate me for that. But you gotta admit, the movies are awesome. In fact, the MCU is the modern equivalent of Star Wars. Like, when Star Wars used to be popular back in the 70s and the 80s. Yeah. That's the MCU now. But everything's gonna be changing. We're getting new characters. We're getting... yeah, you name it. If I join the MCU, let that sink in for a minute. If I do happen to join the MCU, whether it's in a background role or in, I don't know, a quick cameo, or if I'm a hero itself, I just want you to remember one thing. I'm probably under contract to Disney. I don't know how it works. But yeah, I'm hoping to appear in the MCU at some point. Believe it or not, the MCU is actually going to go on forever. And I don't mean that like eventually it's gonna end. Like, I think it's gonna end like the 2030s or the 2040s. Maybe late 2020s, I don't know. It's gonna be going on for a long time. When 2028 comes around, it's gonna be like a 20-year anniversary of the first Iron Man movie. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on these future MCU films. If it doesn't make sense to you, I don't blame you. As I said, it's concept. It's not 100%. It may not be legit. But yeah, take it with a grain of salt. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you. But other than that, comment your favorite MCU hero so far. Again, mine is Doctor Strange, followed by Spider-Man, and then Black Panther, and then Iron Man. Iron Man comes at level 3000, believe it or not.